big news here, too. An update now on the college football playoff potentially expanding to 12 teams. Yesterday, the CFP board authorized a summer review phase, which will determine the feasibility of an expanded field and how best to implement such an expansion. That is a lot of syllables in those words, and so let's get the explanation from the one who covers it more closely than anyone. Our Heather Dinich joins us here. Heather, you were there in Dallas for this yesterday. What do the fans need to know?
Well, they need to know that, first of all, everyone liked this. The 11 presidents and chancellors who were there, none of them had any serious concerns with it. That's very important. So the next step is for the commissioners to turn around and talk to the bowl executives, specifically the Rose, Orange, Sugar. There are a lot of contracts involved that are at the crux of this conversation, along with ESPN TV executives. And then they're going to report back on September 28th. They also want to talk to the student athletes. How do they feel about playing another game or two during a time when there are a lot of exams? So now's when the nitty-gritty gets done. Okay,
and so to be clear, it sounds to me, or at least the sense I'm getting from following this, is though it is moving in that direction. It is more a question of when than a matter of if. Is that an accurate way to look at it?
I think that's a fair statement. Now, everyone in that room is cautioning this might not happen before the end of the 12-year agreement, and that goes back to the contracts that I just talked about. I asked SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey yesterday if he thinks it could happen, and he said that I would temper my expectations. We have an opportunity here to do some more digging. Never say never, obviously, but they're split in the room. There are people who think it can be done. West Virginia President Gordon Gee walked out and said, hey, if we can figure this thing out, let's get it going. But there are others who aren't so sure that this can all be unwound. There were attorneys in the room yesterday because there are a lot of legal issues to work around here with those contracts.
Remind everybody, when does the current contract expire?
2025 through the 2025 season. So we're going into the 8th football season of the 12-year contract.
No, we're still a long way away from that, so it may be that far off that we expand to 12 teams. Heather, we'll bring you back for more on this a little bit later, and on this, because this to me was the really big story of the week. The Supreme Court unanimously deciding the NCAA cannot enforce rules limiting education-related benefits that colleges offer to student athletes. That ruling, which came down Monday, will help determine whether schools decide to offer athletes tens of thousands of dollars in those benefits, and it has been described by many who follow this closely as a potential first step towards a pay-for-play situation in collegiate sports. And so I wanted to bring Ryan Clark and PJ Carlesimo in on this as well, because both of you have connections to this. RC, you played, obviously, at LSU at the highest level, and you are the father of a player who is playing Division I college football right now. So as you saw this decision get made, RC, I wanted to hear your reaction.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was shocking. I mean, you think about the last time the Supreme Court has weighed in on anything in the NCAA was in the 80s. And so for them to come out and say, okay, listen, what you are doing is flatly wrong. If you listen to what Judge Kavanaugh said, he said in any other industry or almost any other industry in America, this would be flat out illegal. And I think that's what many people have been saying as colleges have learned and found ways to make more and more money, as the NCAA has found ways to make more and more money off of these young men, off of these young student athletes, and not find ways to pay them or not find ways to make sure they have exactly and absolutely everything that they need. So I felt like this was warranted. I felt like this was a good decision. And now the NCAA is faced with a problem, right? It's faced with an opportunity to make a decision and say, you know what? We can do the right thing by these players so no one else has to weigh in, or we can try to continue to have this archaic model that allows us to benefit by only paying very little money. So I look forward to seeing what the decision is going forward, but I think this benefits the players and could benefit the NCAA if they handle things correctly.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't seem they've been inclined to go in that direction before, but maybe this will give them no other option. And PJ, I wanted to get your perspective. I feel like I need to make sure the audience knows you coached in college a really long time. You were at Seton Hall in the national championship game once upon a time, so you know the ins and outs of this as well as anybody. What impact do you think it would have on college basketball, let's say, if this thing continues to go in the direction it feels like it is?
I don't think it's going to have the huge impact necessarily on college basketball. College basketball is what makes all the money for the schools. The football playoffs are a little bit different the way that operates. Heather could speak to that more. The NCAA sometimes gets a bad rap, Greeny, because the NCAA is the schools. The schools are the ones that get that money, and thousands upon thousands of athletes in all these other sports get the full scholarship. I coached for 23 years, and when we offered somebody a scholarship, it was worth north of $200,000. So nobody talks about that benefit anymore. You're getting a college degree, the chance to go for 4 or 5 years for free. NIL is going to address some of these inequities that Ryan's talking about, name, image, and likeness. They're going to start letting some of the players, particularly in football or in college basketball, find ways to give them more money. But the more you give and the more you expand that, there's not going to be enough money to go around. So it's a little bit more complicated than Judge Kavanaugh is making it sound.
RC, do you want to jump back in on that?
No, I totally understand what PJ is saying, and obviously he was involved in college basketball a lot longer than I played football, or longer than Jordan's been in school. And I think those inequities that he mentioned will be addressed in the NIL, but those are going to be for certain players. I think they're looking for a way to have a more universal way of helping these kids, of giving these kids more, of allowing them to benefit more from being student athletes and being the ones who are making money for these schools. Listen, I know PJ say basketball is a huge thing, but I played in Tiger Stadium. I live in Baton Rouge. I know on Saturday night, I can see the lights from my house, and it's a ton of money being made out there. And I also know that some of these players that sometimes don't have things to eat and need home cooked meals, and I'm also doing that as well. And so I think that as things move along, if the NCAA does decide to do the right thing, this doesn't have to get ugly.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.